Hello and namaskar. To begin with, let me thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity in making this presentation on the theme research ethics. Actually, research ethics encompasses several issues. Information ethics is one among those wherein the libraries have a role to play. Pirate sites are one that are questioned for their ethics and their legality. I'm going to speak on and review views expressed by the individuals about one of such pirate site that is under discussion and heavy use. Slide 2. The libraries played a very significant role at the beginning and end of research process, especially during literature review and the publishing research outcome. That's something up on the above side of the slide over here. Of course, during the other stages also in the research process, libraries keep the participants updated of developments. I'm going to review the views on the use of published information and ethical issues that have cropped up early this decade. With the availability of search engines like Yahoo and Google in late 20th century, users did consider those as an alternative to the libraries. That made libraries to relocate themselves with the changing times. While that was the case for the information search, full text retrieval process changed with the availability of a pirate site by name Sci-Hub. Obtaining information from Sci-Hub was and is being largely discussed on the grounds of ethical issues vis-a-vis utility. The creator of Sci-Hub, Alexandra Albakian from Kazakhstan, was particularly concerned with the availability of documents behind paywalls to all those who need them. Besides the dominance of publishers in keeping profits as well as copyrights with themselves, were also other aspects of her concern. So, she tried to create a repository of publications. It is said that she uses credentials of all those researchers who support her concerns to download articles behind paywalls. Once the article is downloaded, it is archived in the Sci-Hub repository for attending subsequent requests and provided to every requester without any fee. This was a boon to all those having difficulty in obtaining needed articles. Today, the repository of Sci-Hub has over 74 million articles and almost 200,000 are downloaded every day. This is all from all over the world. Alexandra indicates that there are about 3 million unique IP addresses from where such requests were received by Sci-Hub. Note that if the request is sent from an organizational IP, then the individual user behind the IP does not get identified. So, actual number of users are much more than the 3 million. Here is a graph. It shows the population on the x-axis and the number of downloads on y-axis for each country. Of course, China and India outnumber all countries. However, a point to note that the use of Sci-Hub from developed countries such as US, UK, Germany, France, Canada, etc. is much above the average line, indicating the users from such resource-rich countries also largely use Sci-Hub. In short, Sci-Hub has changed information-seeking behavior of the researchers. Many argue that the pirate site is an illegal activity, which is of course proved in the court of law and therefore unethical. Some foresee significant damage to the research information industry with all players in it. Some do not believe Alexandra's argument that she was provided with the IDs and passwords, but believe that she obtained those by phishing, hacking, and theft, and therefore a matter of privacy issue. While others believe that this has even damaged open access movement in getting literature out of paywalls, and hence this unethical activity should never be encouraged. In spite of all such counter-arguments, the site is being increasingly used. A couple of doctors expressed their happiness with easy and free availability of research literature and consider as a life-saving device. Some feel no commercial ambition behind this service and therefore it makes it ethical. Others believe that this, in fact, will make publishers think to bring a change in their pricing models, as Napster successfully did it for the music content. Some second Alexandra, indicating it is unfair to reap profits of public funded research only by publishers when author public grants are also part in the process. Users from resource-rich organizations consider using this largely for the convenience. See this data. The users of Georgetown University find it convenient to download the article from Sahib just in 2 clicks and 5 seconds. If they had to use official university access for the same article, they would require clicking at least 6 times and 24 seconds. A long wait for the document delivery makes users impatient, especially when the article is available for free at just 2 clicks. There is an evolution in the process. It is not only the access to the full text alone, but experiments are also being made to mine the data from archive of publications using computers at prestigious Indian organization, that is Jawaharlal Nehru University. Slide 11. It is for sure that the site has reduced the importance of libraries in a process, but its continued use will help bringing a revision in the pricing models. Whatever be the case, this could be showcased to the information users to discuss and demonstrate ethical issues, intellectual property, and equitable access to the information. Some highlight no change of publisher or journal and therefore question what's unethical then, except access without cost. Others point benefits to the journals, publishers, by way of increased citations, ranks, etc. According to one view, this is a civil disobedience. It is a natural phenomena when the public is kept at the bay. Nothing unethical in it. Gandhiji had a Dandi Yatra to showcase civil disobedience against the then government's policies. Downloading articles from available resource is also a civil disobedience that is already happening, and libraries can't bring a change to it. Thank you.